Hello, welcome, and welcome to part 5, where I'll be talking about general aim practices or aim tips and general game sense or game theory tips. So, first, I would like to talk about aim. And aiming is an essential part of Counter Strike. So, you want to shoot them in the head. So, my first tip would be aiming at head level. Once you've mastered that, you're used to it, just don't look at the ground. Look away from the ground. If there's one thing that could help, it's aiming at your teammate's head. So you have an idea on what the head level will be, and you maintain it. You try to maintain it for the rest of the round to uh, have your chances at headshot. So if once you get used to that, then you have to understand now that you can make this way easier by pre-aiming. So when you pre-aim, you just know where the enemy would come from, and you try to align your crosshair on where they would come so you don't have a hard time tracking the opponent, such as in this round. This is the pistol round. This is supposed to be the pistol round CT side. Let's watch this round in my perspective. I will be going B in this round with a nade and a kit. I think utilities are great in pistol rounds. They help much more than armor. As you can see, I'm going B. I'm going to cover for my teammate. They flash, so I nade immediately. I just wait for them to come out and I flick. There, I was pre-aiming at that side because I know they would go out on that side. See? Watch this. See? I only needed to adjust my hand just a few inches, just a few centimeters, whatever, right? So it doesn't stress my hand. As we do this so that there's less stress on your hand, and uh, so it's less tiring first. It's less tiring. There's less work for your hand, and doesn't it lessens the skill involved in getting headshots. Now, uh, when they're done uh, learning how to pre-aim, now it's actually time how to learn how to play the game. Now, I have this I have this concept called temporal logic, is which is basically knowing what things are gonna happen at a certain time period. And this is important in Counter Strike. For example, in League of Legends, you don't want some champions to reach a certain time period because they have a power spike or a certain item, or you just know they're gonna have a power spike on that item. It's either you rushing that item or them rushing that item. Uh, on levels, on time in League of Legends or Dota, specifically in League of Legends, there are some champions that you don't want to reach minute 30 and above. Champions like Kassadin, champions like Kale, since they scale a lot on depending on how the time goes, or you want to close the match because your champion falls off. Usually, these are bruisers, or in Dota, hyper carries. You want to extend the time of your games. If you have a hyper carry that's reliant on farming, same goes to League. In Counter Strike, time frames are isolated, and there are only uh, there are only few constants specific for that round. Specifically, money. You can track money depending on knowing when they had armor, when they had rifles. A coach can, in professional play, uh, a coach can track these down, but you can also do this as a player on a lesser level, such as knowing when they'll buy, knowing when their economy is broken. If their economy is broken after this round, you can track of that. And a much more easier way, but a lot more time consuming, I guess. I have played this game for 7,000 hours at least, and I just started playing on this account again. This is my main account, which used to be DMG. I queued with my friends to reach DMG. And they were usually legendary Eagle Master up to global. So I played high level as well on a high level rank wise. And you can say I kind of understand this game and I can explain it to you. Game sense is developed uh, through experience. It's the general understanding of the game, and temporal logic falls into this in knowing what certain time frames, uh, what's knowing what will happen on certain time frames, depending on what you see and what you do not see. For example, on Mirage, I'll show you. I'll show you uh, this pistol round. I think, in this pistol round, let's see. It's either I play A depending on my spawn, whether I spawn close to A or I spawn close to mid, so I can take mid. So these uh, these choices I make depending on what I spawn. I know that it's more advantageous to go to A for me position wise, to take advantage of my position at an early stage of the game, since I'm closer to that spot and I can pressure the spot easier, and it will probably be effective from the start of the round up to, let's say, a minute and 30. So as you can see, I spawn close to A, so I will be buying a P250 so I can head a one hit headshot someone from Palace, so I can take these long range fights. So I wait here, I take advantage. So at this time, you can my teammate has already went up there, and I wouldn't be able to do that to help my teammate if I didn't spawn early. I didn't go to Palace earlier. And how I could do that earlier is that uh, I s- I take advantage of my spawn. So I pick mid since I picked off basically the side. I was trying to attempt to take advantage of the situation, but I get punished for it. I didn't know that what was going on in Vent and City, so I took a risk and I died because of that. Understanding of the game is important. It minimizes uh it minimizes the skill factor, knowing where the enemy would come, so you just don't rely on your physical skill. Again, I'm near Palace, so I go Palace, or I'm just gonna lurk for my teammates, wait for them to get a peek and react according to it. I'm gonna throwing a Molotov here since they were fighting Connector, and my teammate got Connector, so I'm gonna try and take the site with them. So I take two people on the site and I die. I'll be dying on that round since, I've done my job. My teammates have rotated to B and I've taken three people out. And they're just gonna hold since uh they don't have weapons to fight to fight my teammates. Try and take a weapon. So I know that they bought armor since uh they didn't they didn't die quick, such as this person. Actually, they bought guns. Anyways, I might I might theorize that they didn't buy armor. They did buy armor it's because they died slow to UMPs. And I might have guessed wrong. Anyway, I think they have, yeah, they forced I mean they saved last round. But that difference alone from what I've said makes goes a long way because it uh, miscommunication goes a long way in pros since people just call and they just do what they're told to do. Let's see what I do here. I just wait for my teammates again to uh, pressure mid, and if they come to the site or the site needs to rotate, I rotate. And another thing that takes the concept of temporal knowledge in this game is knowing when rotations will happen. Like, if my teammate dies mid at this time, would they rotate? Right? Uh, if they flash twice on B side, they would probably rotate since there's pressure put into the site and uh their teammates in the site might be compromised. So depending on what you hear and what you see or don't see, you can understand your enemy's position. I die there. I was trying to cover my teammate, and as you can see, understanding rotations uh, is needed. It is a both important concept as more importantly in CT because you kinda lack the initiative on what's going on the map, so you just take control of stuff. And as you can see from what I'm always playing, I keep playing the apartments, and they keep coming from mid. And I would like to explain why my teammates like to go mid because uh, connector is a really strong spot to take a site if they keep trying to play for a main. As you can see, as you can now see, there's a lot. They're putting a lot of people mid to to fight the pressure of mid so that uh, there's less pressure on A, and I suffered for that, but I traded damage. This is an eco round. Uh, it's it's kind of complicated and an overwhelming concept at first, but understanding these concepts just take a lot of practice and a lot of grinding, honestly. And uh, an easier way to find out where the enemy comes from is, as CT side most especially, is counting the nades. So last round my teammates had My teammates are going to nade this, going to try and execute A. They're gonna line up the smokes. As you can see here, he lined up the smoke. I think this is a jungle smoke, if I'm not mistaken. As you can see, if you're on CT side, you can see the smoke coming in. Now, if you know where they throw the smoke, you'll find out how many people are in that location. As you can see, he smoked jungle, but he but the CT then just waits on just waits on A main because they know the smoke is coming from A main. So you can count how many people there are waiting on the site depending on how many grenades they throw. For example, uh, we know that you can carry four nades. You can either carry a smoke, a decoy, uh, an HE grenade, Molotov, and a flashbang. You can carry maximum of four grenades at a time, either one of each or two of each. I mean, two grenades and two flashbangs. So you can count how many grenades are being thrown. Like, if two people throw Molotovs in apartments, you know that there are two people, right? But if someone throws two flashes, you can count them at least as one person. And as you can see, they know they're rotating to A, or at least trying to just hold A, since there are people, there are smokes from to stairs to jungle. They know that it's an A, or at least there are three people on A main because there are three smokes, and all of those smokes are lined up from A main. And that's how one of the help of game sense is you understand the game in on how it works, right? So you've another thing as terrorist, the terrorist counterpart of this play, as I explained a while ago, they throw Molotovs on apps. You can count the grenades. One, you can count the grenades the same way I did for T side. How many like specific grenades are limited one to one person, and you can know how bad of a retake it will be for the opposing for the cities, and what spots could be taken advantage of depending on the utilities that they throw on the start of the rounds or during the middle of the rounds. You can make certain decisions, like for a molly to like a molly thrown can change a decision of T side of the terrorists on how they'll play that round, since utility makes retaking easier. If you place certain positions and they don't have utility to counter that, you can set up crossfires and basically make it harder for the opposing team to retake, right? And let's talk about retaking. Retaking is stressful, or it helps that you guys understand that you would just retake the site and wait for them. It is not a rare occurrence to just give up the site and retake. Now, if you're if you decide to basically do a retake, right? You decide to do a retake, but you're the only one left. Here, Nerves, they're kinda important. Handling nerves is important in Counter Strike because shaking physically affects you. Nervousness, you know, has different effects on different people, but these are, effects that can affect your gameplay on a skill based game such as Counter Strike. A lot of player input is being made. A lot of input is being made by the players themselves, and retakes like retakes or clutches against the odds are a common sight in Counter Strike, and you will be doing this all the time. So I suggest you just limit dust always. You always try not to play it safe, or at least if there's nothing to lose except the round, I guess you try and retake, right? Or you try to clutch. So you get used to the feeling of clutching, of being down numbers, on being impossible odds. And of course, once you get used to this, the higher chance that, you know, at least the nerves lessen if your skill doesn't really translate. It's a it's a factor that, is being reduced. And, you know, limit testing, right? So I guess that's it for this video on my tips on how to improve your aim and your game sense, your gameplay, and your understanding of the game theory. So as as you can see, I have this favorite setup on Mirage B where I buy a nade, then I specifically throw a nade uh at max 155 for anti-rush, and these late nades I wait for the molly to run out first, so they might change positions after that, so I throw a nade but it didn't catch anyone, and that's basic application of temporal logic. So let me recap again. For aiming, uh, steady aiming, grinding aimbots, but still, you know, you don't have to stress your hands too much. Uh, Second, pre-aim, and I guess that's it. That's it for aiming. And for game sense, temporal logic, limit testing, and rotations, nades, understanding of the game. In general, I think those are tips that could help you understand the game. So I play this round. I die since I didn't know there's uh someone on short, and that reminds me of something I forgot. Communication is important. Learn the uh map location so you can call them out to your teammates and you can understand your teammates call outs. And I think that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys learned something today. Stay safe. Hehe.